And who's going to lead the education efforts then? Who's driving this stuff? You've done lots of work with the universities. I guess in our industry we look at some of the big retailers. You mentioned Nike. We know Harrods, and who are doing some great retail theatre stuff. And I guess we'd look at Times Square or Piccadilly Circus to do some of the billboard interaction stuff. But where do we see the real education coming from? Are we missing something as an industry from that perspective?
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's a collective responsibility in a way. I mean, some of the things that obviously, whether it's an event like a roundtable event or it's conferences, I think all of those are good opportunities. But probably, I'm not sure whether we're getting to the right people all of the time, particularly on the content creatively campaign management point of view. So maybe there is a trick we're missing in terms of reaching out to the brands and to the agencies at a kind of fundamental level.
I mean, graphics arts have been taught for many decades. I mean, there's many skilled people being trained to develop excellent print media formats. In Canada, where I am, we've done some research, and there essentially aren't any young people being trained in what we would call digital out-of-home, digital signage. I mean, there's terrific programs for film production. There's terrific programs for broadcast production. There's terrific programs for print production. There is no serious work being done on digital out-of-home, and I wonder why this kind of production isn't just as valid a media for training people as any other, and we ought to. And I think this is a great career for people to create better content, better messages, and I think they're at the ground floor. They could be at the ground floor of something really exciting. So we're sponsoring programs at several colleges and universities to begin training people in this field. So.
That's good then. I mean,
that's a good point.
Where do Mood Media find your people? Because your people who are out talking to retailers must be versed in lots of skills, whether it be music, which is your initial background, but we're talking about video, we're talking about responsiveness, we're talking about screens, interaction.
A lot of it at the moment is coming from their own passion of wanting to, going out there and wanting to do the best thing possible. The creative guys naturally want to do something a bit different. And a lot of it is that at the moment. They are, signing up to forums and DailyDOOH, for example, trying to learn. I think I completely agree with you. I don't know in the UK whether there are any courses for this kind of media. I've not heard of any, but I think it's a completely valid point. I think we need something like that.
Look how far web page production has come in the last 6 or 7 years, from terrible to, in some cases, quite good. And I think we're kind of where that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now.
So this is the best practice and what to do and what not to do. What about your channel? I mean, I guess typically in your world you've spoken to the AV people, the hang and bang and the trucks and ladders, but there's challenges for those people. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. It's not just about hanging a screen anymore and just walking away once that's done. No. It's about a lot more. I mean,
probably our successful channel partners across Europe are the ones that have creative services as part of their portfolio. So, I mean, it's essential. We're selling enabling technology to do many things, but at the end of the day, it's always about what's shown on the screen and the display and so on. That's ultimately it. And in fact, if we go into a customer engagement, my favorite is to actually show them a visualization of the possibility. We don't go into the product, into how you do it, how you create it, because at the end of the day, they know that's what we do, and we do that well. What has the impact is a visualization of what could be possible with their business. So I think the starting point is always going to be that visual impact, and what we try to do is make sure that we've got the technology that enables the creatives to do what they want to do, what they possibly can do. So,
one thing I also think is missing is how do we service the smaller stores? The stores that might have a company might have only one store, 2 or 3 stores. They can't afford large production bills. What we need, I think, is again trained people to create content, and we need a marketplace to get content to those smaller stores, smaller outlets, where people are going to buy 1 display, 5 displays, not hundreds of displays. how do we get content to them? How do we make it economical for them not only to buy the displays, but also to get content that's fresh and not boring? I mean, as you pointed out earlier, you can put a good message on, but if it gets stale pretty quickly. That's, I think, a big missing piece of our industry.
Are there parallels there in music? How do you handle the smaller retailer who wants to take music? I mean, you'd service them, but is there a parallel there? Do they go to a website and put their credit card details in and download the music, or is it not as simple as that?
No, it's as important for a retailer with 2 or 3 stores as someone with 200 to 300 stores. That's what we find with audio. It has to be right. And so, and you have, budgets vary. Some people, have a lot more to be able to spend on it, depending on how important they think it is, I suppose. But
is there an easy way for them to purchase the music, or do they have to? They go through the same rigmarole that a big corporate would?
The rigmarole setting up audio is really quite simple. They've already got speakers generally in there anyway. It's a hard drive or done over the internet, and we can put a playlist together really quite easily for them.
Okay.
We always put a creative brief together and say, right, this is what we think you should be playing. These are our ideas and our rationale behind what we're doing. What do you think? Because they still need some guidance. That's exactly the same for digital signage as well. It's the same process, but a lot longer. It is a different mindset, I think, entirely. But so there's similarities. Are
you suggesting a similar approach? I mean, like a content store, or clip art or templates, or what are you thinking of in terms of making it simplistic for?
I think so. I think if you're a dentist and you want to present some message that's beneficial to your patients, you need simple, easy ways to do that. And some digital signage software is okay for that, but you need other stuff to just keep people entertained. I mean, it's like watching the World Cup. I mean, if you're sitting in the dentist's office and your dentist is late like he usually is, you need something to keep you from being excessively bored rather than reading old magazines. So I think there's a big opportunity for content that's appropriate for the location, that's affordable and fresh and up-to-date and interesting, and I don't think that's the case right now.
You don't think anybody's addressed that?
Not sufficiently. I think it's just too expensive to get good content. I mean, there are many firms that can create excellent. We work with them. And your firm does this. You can create excellent content. Where do you get for clients who can pay a lot of money? But where do you get it for the small outlets affordably? That's still excellent, tasteful, and interesting.
I mean, Mood Media, you slice and dice music and sell it in a number of formats. You license it to TVs for advertisements, and you sell CDs in store and things, as well as supplying it. So there probably is you've done that after, 10, 15 years experience of doing music. So maybe it's just, I haven't got to that point yet with the content to be sure enough about what we want to do as a way to deliver it.
I mean, the medium's really new, and it's going to take time to develop this. And not only, we're not even there, I think, really well for 16:9 portrait or landscape. What do we need to do to make it work for arbitrary shapes? So